Hello, I wanted to talk a little bit today about a new online course via Zoom, which I've got starting at the beginning of November, Eat Well at Home. I've been running workshops for small groups of people, up to 8, that's what they've been in the past when they've been face to face in the flesh, for about the last 9 years now. And these groups have been an opportunity for people to explore their mindset around food, their relationship with food, and to enable them to stop using food as a way of managing emotions or attempting to manage emotions. We often do this without even realizing that we're doing it. And I think because our relationship with food is very complex and it goes back to the time of birth, sometimes, there's research evidence to show that our relationship with food has actually started even before birth. But certainly from the moment of birth with our mothers, how she is and the emotions and attitude of our caregivers around food unconsciously are communicated to us. I mean, clearly most people don't have conscious memories until about the age of 3, but unconsciously those memories are there and they have an impact on how we relate to food and the messages that we pick up from those people who have been in charge, responsible for giving us our care at that time. I think also it's really important to remember that most communication is non-verbal. We focus in on the verbal content of things, but actually we pick up so many messages from the non-verbal communication and from what isn't said rather than what actually is said. And that can then it can become part of what I would call an internal script. So it's almost something that you live by. And until you stop and think about that internal script and what's written on it, you don't really realise the messages that you're giving yourself, that you're feeding yourself every single day around not just food, but all sorts of other things too. So the course this time around has to be online because of the situation that we find ourselves in. And I've been running some Zoom sessions every week now since early on in the summer. And I'm actually finding that it's a really good way of meeting with people, communicating with people, and that provided the group isn't too large, you can also have quite a lot of interaction with the people on the call. Certainly with the sessions that I've been running on a Saturday morning, which have been up to about 8 or 9, that has been possible. So that's my hope for the course that starts in November, that there will be interaction. It will be a place where we can support one another, where people can share certain things if they wish to. But most importantly, it's a place and a space in the week for you ahead of the weekend, which is often the time that can be most challenging for people when they're out of their usual routine and where they might be going out and there may be much more food and drink around. And certainly I wanted to sort of have the course in the run up to Christmas, which is often a time which is full of extra food and drink. And people can tend to put weight on at that time. But as I said, this course is not just for people who maybe are heavier than they would like to be. It's for people who recognise that they use food as a way of managing feelings. So there are lots of people who find it really difficult to put weight on and lose weight if they're under stress. A lot of weight, they just can't eat, they have no appetite, and can lose pounds that they really can't afford to lose within a few days just because of the stress. It's almost like they forget to eat. And while other people at the other end of the scale will be overeating, but that also will be out of awareness, so they won't realise that they're doing it, and before they know it, they're bigger than they were last month or last year. So the purpose of this 6-week course hour and a half a week on a Friday evening, 5 till 6:30 p.m, is to give you a time and a space in the week to really consider your relationship with food, your attitudes and values around food, and where those things came from. We will be at the very beginning looking at what you as an individual want to get out of the course, what you would like to be able to achieve, what your goals may be, something that you would be aiming for, to identify what that is, and that needs to be quite specific. And then looking at our families of origin, looking at our patterns of eating, and how that was for us as children, the messages that we may have received or will have received but may not be currently really aware of around food and eating, the kind of things that were said about people who were overweight or larger than they would like to be, and also people who were underweight, and again how that might have become part of our internal script. To bring those things into awareness, to bring those things into the light so that we can notice them, become aware of them, and make more conscious choices around food. The other thing that we'll be looking at is why so often we use the very unhealthy foods, the foods that we know are not good for us, as what we call treats, what that is all about, and how to replace that behaviour with using other things that will be much better for you, make you feel so much better about yourself, and also looking at guilty feelings around overeating or putting on weight or being larger than we would like to be or lighter than we would like to be, and the guilt and where that maybe originates from, which may be from a place of being humiliated or shamed as a child, and that's been something that we've taken into our energy body and something that we're still carrying with us today. So there's wounds from childhood of humiliation and shame, and feeling guilty, feeling bad about ourselves, are something that we can carry with us for the whole of our lives until we give ourselves an opportunity to release them. So building a better relationship with food, increasing our awareness around food and eating and why that pattern exists, giving ourselves an opportunity to change it, to change things for the better, and to look at what it is that we're actually trying to feed with food or deny ourselves by not having the food that we're not getting. So recognising those needs and then finding good ways of meeting those needs for ourselves, appreciating ourselves, our bodies, and our relationship with our bodies in a very different way. So if that sounds of interest, if any of that resonates with you, if you're somebody who would really like to give up calorie counting, to give up worrying about food, obsessing about food, feeling anxious in supermarkets, when you're feeling overwhelmed by a plate full of food, any of those feelings, emotions, if any of that resonates with you, or there's somebody that you know who you think may be interested in this short online course starting on Friday the 6th of November, contact me. You can email me via my website. It's Vicky with an I, vickymarston@co.uk. You can message me on my Facebook page, which is Self-Development Leicester, where I post most days, or you can message me after you've seen this film. Thank you for joining me. It's always my absolute pleasure to be here and to talk with you and to pass on information about things that I am passionate about and have spent a lifetime exploring. So until the next time, thanks again for joining me, and good health.